Friendly greetings. It's your friend, Torley Linden. And in this video tutorial, as a follow-up to some questions I got, I'm going to show you how exactly I made those glowing signs on Here Island. You may have noticed them strewn about. Very simple, very stylistic, and a lot of fun. So we're here in ArtRage Starter Edition. This is a free program for Mac and Windows. You may have seen my how to make an awesome shirt tutorial before, in which I showed, because it's very cool for making organic stuff. You see I have the paintbrush selected. You can mix paints and all manner of stuff. And even in the free version, you have a good selection of tools. However, what you do not have is easily controllable transparency, is what I did with the full version. So if you don't worry, I've got you covered, because, first of all, let's look what you need to do if you're in the full version. Okay, so File menu and New Painting, and then No. And 512 by 512, that's a good size between detail, and it's not too large of a texture. And it's powers by 2, of course, like what Second Life will gladly accept. So normally from here, there'd be a preset called Cell, and then you could change the opacity and such. But this isn't in the free version. What you can do, however, is if you have the free version, then File menu and Open Painting, and No. And let's open this transparent one up, because this is something I did with the cell in the full version. And now you can see this familiar checkerboard. Well, it should be familiar if you know it indicates transparency, which means anything with this pattern, it will show right through. So if you're hoping to paint some letters in the air, let me get my stylus for my Wacom tablet. And it'll work with a mouse too, but having a graphics tablet is just so much more expressive. And there's some cheap ones on the market that are like under $100 US. I mean, the price for this technology comes down as it gets adopted more and technology moves on its way. So if we were to, that's kind of anemic actually. Let me just move it down to a darker, more saturated green, and let's make the brush a little smaller. So if I were to paint something like I said hello in my own kind of funny letters, and even put a smiley face just within a few seconds, and you can experiment with other things. This one's a marker. It's kind of good for graffiti. Of course, in the full one, there's an airbrush, which will really let you flow. And I'll just do my signature pink, and I'll sort of put like wavy lines around here, just like that. Ooh, let your inner child come out. One thing you don't want to do is get too close to the edge. Like, don't push me because I'm close to the edge, because it will show up as sort of an ugly gap when you have your final image uploaded. Oh, excuse me. Then it'll cut off abruptly. Well, okay, that wasn't the best job repairing it. You can imagine real squeaky markers. And even we could put some kind of yellow happiness. It's kind of green there, but let's chalk them up. Let's chalk them up a little. Chaka, 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 chaka. So this, again, because it's partially transparent, not the full way, and I can't even do a smiley face right. Oh, there we go. Big eyes. So he's big happy, and he's kind of like an alien guy now. Kind of like the Joker, you know, why so serious? I guess if we want to go that way. You can get carried away having a crazy smile, and now he's become like this Batman nemesis. I guess we could have his like red all over his face and then paint him. Oh yeah, now he's going to be a terrifying force to be reckoned with. And then we make his eyes dark and crazy like that. Went off the edge. Control Z, undo. That will save me. Okay. So here we have our hello sign. Now, put the stylus down, Torley. And after you're completed making a design you're satisfied with, you can make one after another. Creativity flows like that. You go to the File menu, and let's export as image, okay? And we're going to have our options here. And we'll just call this one Jokey, because it's kind of like the Joker. And change your type. Make sure to change this to PNG here. So we've got an easy transparency, which is supported in Second Life. Save it. Click to save, let it save, and see you in Second Life in a few moments. Second Life. Dun, dun, dun. So if you've seen previous tutorials I've done on uploading textures, then this will seem familiar, but hey, if you're new, I'll guide you and show you the way how. So you're going to want to go to the File menu here and Upload Image. And let's go ahead and let's look for, remember where you saved it, Jokey, okay? and open that up. And here it shows up, right, with the similar kind of checkerboard. It's going to be transparent. Let's upload that. And it pretty much looked as we made it, eh? That's one of the things you'd probably, in most cases, unless you really know what you're doing, to adhere 512 by 512, because otherwise Second Life will resize it, and sometimes image resampling can look distorted and ugly. So it's blurry, it's going to load in a bit. In the meantime, I just dragged it off the screen, right-click the ground, create, and then click the ground again, and you're going to have a standard stock plywood cube. Under texture, well, actually first, let's go under object, and then let's change the size. Let's make this 10 meters on one side, or 5 meters. Okay, either is fine. And then you're going to want to make Y 0, or close to it as possible, so it rounds off like that. And Z will be 5, for example. Just so it's already looking at it and drag it up. It's looking like a sign. All right, move the camera around. Next step is you want to go to Texture tab. And then you change the texture, so click this here. It'll change the textures on all the sides right now to a transparent one. Let's search for transparent, more than meets the eyes. And right here in the library, I have some myself, but you're going to want to use this one. The default transparent texture is good. Select, because it's all see-through now. Another couple of steps, which will be applied shortly. Okay, great. Jokey is back. And then close this. And let's go ahead and select texture. You can actually click and drag it on, for example. This is one way of doing click and drag it on, but that's a bit tricky because it's invisible. Then you can also select texture, click to select just one side, and then you can click and drag it onto that square. There. Or if you click and select, you can also manually select it in your inventory. Different ways of doing the same thing. So let's cancel that. Oh, I didn't mean to cancel that. I meant to select it. Sorry. There, it's back. So go back to click position so the whole thing is selected. And as we move the camera around, let me hide my inventory so you can see there's nothing on that side and there's nothing on the thin, very thin sides too. This is exactly how I made all the signs, by the way. Like this one up here that says you are here. So the next step, you're like, why does that you are here one look so vibrant? Well, that's precisely because I used a touch of glow. And by the way, you only see glow if your graphic card supports it. Many do. But if you are not sure, in Edit Menu and Preferences right here in the Graphics tab, it should be Post-Process Quality. That's translated to mean glow, and that it would be enabled. Otherwise, you wouldn't see glow. And how do you know if you see glow? And by the way, if you don't see this, click Custom. So let's cancel that. And if you can't see glow, you'll know it because if you set it to the most extreme value, it's glowing. And that's really cool for in the air, neon graffiti-like. I usually like setting it, in most cases, to 0.1, 0.10 as it were, so it gives a subtle tinge, and click full bright, which will ensure constant brightness whatever time of day it is. There we go. Or even a lower amount might be good for this, like 0.05. Because then what we have, if we go to, move this to the side, World Menu and Environment Settings, and even to Midnight, it will still show up very clearly, as you notice other signs on my island do. See that you are here one? And there's a whole bunch. They're very fun to do, just to make a floating sign like that, because it's like, wow, that's not even possible in First Life. And of course, if it's not full bright, you're going to see it's different. Then it gets changed because it's darker. There's some local lights around here, but if I move it off into the sort of the edge of this corral, then it's darker. So full bright. And one extra thing that I do, which you can try as well, because you can only see it from this side, I like to make it so there is sort of a playful sense of three-dimensionality, or at least you can see the back of it. So I click this part, and then inventory, and then I click and drag Jokey onto it. And since we set the properties for the whole prim, both of these independent sides are already glowing. Keep in mind that you can set texture sides independently. So, for example, that's why this one is in a different direction than that. But, as I've done with the signs, if we flip it horizontally, because then, see, it looks, it really looks like it has a sense of continuity from front to back, front to back, front to back. You can get with the hizzy ho, Zach. Well, and hello. You've just learned how to make a lovely sign. And of course, you can do this in any painting program that supports transparency, not just ArtRage, but you can bring it into Second Life. And the extra touches, of course, are what can help you out. You can also tint things, which is a trick that I use because, let me see here. This one is actually tinted. See, it was originally just white, but I tinted it. And of course, I can change the colors some more. So if you want a sign that's easily recolorable, that's pretty much letters and maybe a graphic, a cuneiform or so, then you just make it white and you can tint it in world. But if you want the color and you're sure to have the color from the offset, go ahead and do that in your paint program. Well, this has been Torley Linden wishing you well, bidding you well, even better. Oh yeah, make a sign. And you know what? If you make a cool sign, send it to me. I love to see these things. Come to here to check out more explorations in the art of content creation. Woohoo!